CDL General Knowledge 2025. Pass your CDL permit exam on the first try. Are you preparing for your commercial driver's license CDL General Knowledge test? This is part 3 of a 3-part video series covering questions 161 to 250 out of 250 total practice questions. Watch all 3 videos multiple times before taking your actual DMV test to help ensure you pass on your first attempt. If you're new to this channel, feel free to subscribe for more CDL test tips, practice questions, and trucking career advice. Let's get started and put you in the driver's seat. You are driving a 40-feet vehicle at 55 miles per hour. The road is dry and visibility is good. What is the least amount of space that you need to have in front of your vehicle? A. 4 seconds. B. 5 seconds. C. 6 seconds. Correct answer, 5 seconds. What should you do if a car coming toward you at night keeps its high beams on? A. Flash your high beams quickly at the other driver. B. Look to the right lane or edge markings of the road. C. Slow down and look straight ahead in your lane. Correct answer, look to the right lane or edge markings of the road. If you must stop into the oncoming lane as you make a turn, you should A. Watch for an oncoming traffic. B. Complete your turn without stopping. C. Back to allow the oncoming traffic to pass. Correct answer, watch for an oncoming traffic. Which of these is true about driving in a tunnel? A. Emergency flashes are required by law. B. Headlights are required by law. C. There may be strong winds when exiting. Correct answer, there may be strong winds when exiting. You should use your horn when A. If it helps to avoid a crash. B. A car is in your way. C. You want to change a lane. Correct answer, if it helps to avoid a crash. The tread depth on a front steering wheel's tires should be A. Not less than 432 inch. B. More than 632 inch. C. Not less than 232 inch. Correct answer, not less than 432 inch. Your vehicle will be put out of service if dash or more leaves in any leaf spring are missing. A. 1/4. B. 1/3. C. 1/2. Correct answer, 1/4. Brake drums, or discs, must not have cracks longer than dash the width of the friction area. A. 1/2. B. 1/3. C. 1/10. Correct answer, 1/2. A hazard. A. Is any road condition or other road user that is possible danger. B. Cannot turn into emergency. C. Does not need to be seen. Correct answer, is any road condition or other road user that is possible danger. You are driving a heavy vehicle. You must exit a highway using an off-ramp that curves downhill. You should A. Slow to the posted speed limit for the off-ramp. B. Slow down to 5 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. C. Slow down to 16 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. Correct answer, slow down to 5 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. Which of these rigs have more chances to off-track while making turn? A. Triple with 45 feet trailer. B. Tractor with 227 feet trailers. C. 58 feet straight truck. Correct answer, triple with 45 feet trailer. How much space in front of you is needed while driving on a highway? A. 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length. B. 1 second for each 20 feet of vehicle length. C. 1 second for each 30 feet of vehicle length. Correct answer, 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length. Medicine used to treat the common cold. A. Should only be used when driving at daytime. B. Often makes you sleepy, and should not be used while driving. C. May still be used while driving if you use half of a regular dose. Correct answer: often makes you sleepy, and should not be used while driving. Which of these you should not do in an emergency situation? A. You should brake in a way that keeps your vehicle in a straight line. B. It is not important how you brake in an emergency situation. C. You should avoid using the brakes until your speed is down to 40 miles per hour. Correct answer: it is not important how you brake in an emergency situation. The primary cause of fatal crashes is A. Driving at night. B. Driving while eating. C. Driving too fast. Correct answer: driving too fast. A car suddenly cuts in front of you, creating a hazard. Which of these actions should you not take? A. Honk your horn and stay close behind the car. B. Signal and change lanes to avoid hazard. C. Slow down to prevent a crash. Correct answer: honk your horn and stay close behind the car. What should you do when you see a hazard in the roadway ahead of you? A. Steer around it and get back in your lane. B. Stop quickly and pull to the side of the road. C. Use your four-way flashes or brake lights to warn others. Correct answer: use your four-way flashes or brake lights to warn others. If your brakes fail on a downgrade, you must first A. Look outside of your vehicle for another means of slowing you. B. Hit some object in order to stop your vehicle. C. Find an escape ramp in order to exit the roadway. Correct answer: find an escape ramp in order to exit the roadway. You should always turn on your emergency four-way flashes when you A. Drive through the mountains. B. Park on the side of the road. C. Cross railway tracks. Correct answer: park on the side of the road. Should brake adjustment be checked often? A. It depends on how new the brakes are. B. No, because the other brakes will make up for the air brakes when they are out of adjustment. C. Yes, because the brakes can get out of adjustment when they are used a lot. Correct answer: yes, because the brakes can get out of adjustment when they are used a lot. Which of these is true about mirror adjusting? A. You should adjust your mirrors before starting the trip. B. You should adjust your mirrors while you are driving. C. The mirrors could be adjusted correctly even if the trailer is not straight. Correct answer: you should adjust your mirrors before starting the trip. When you are driving on a snow-packed road, you should reduce your speed by A. 1/3. B. 1/4. C. 1/2. Correct answer: 1/2. The bridge formula. A. Permits less maximum axle weight for the axles that are close together. B. Permits less maximum axle weight for the axles that are far apart. C. Permits the same maximum axle weight for any axle. Correct answer: permits less maximum axle weight for the axles that are close together. Which of these is true about hours of service? A. After you have reached 1,000 of hours of service you'll be exempt to service regulation. B. You should allow enough hours to rest. C. You have to make a break after every hours of driving. Correct answer: you should allow enough hours to rest. Which of these is true about the use of drugs while driving? A. Prescription or non-prescription drugs are allowed at any time of driving. B. Use of amphetamine is allowed if you are using this drug to stay alert. C. Prescription drugs are allowed if a doctor says they will not affect the driving ability. Correct answer: prescription drugs are allowed if a doctor says they will not affect the driving ability. Which of these is true about proper use of a steering wheel? A. If you do not hold a wheel with both hands, it could pull away from you. B. If you have reached a cruising speed on a highway, you can drive with one hand. C. Only with an attempt of a difficult turn, use both hands on the wheel. Correct answer: if you do not hold a wheel with both hands, it could pull away from you. When helper needs to be used to back your vehicle. A. Only if you need to park. B. Whenever you have to back. C. Only if you have a trailer on your vehicle. Correct answer: whenever you have to back. To avoid an accident, you move to the shoulder. To return to the road. A. Ride on shoulder to the next exit, and then re-enter the road. B. Using mirrors and turn signals, turn sharply to get back to the road. C. Using mirrors and turn signals, return when the road is clear. Correct answer: using mirrors and turn signals, turn sharply to get back to the road. Which of these would not help if windshield covered with ice? A. Brush. B. Scraper. C. Defroster. Correct answer: brush. Heavy vehicles often move slower than others. Which of these is not a good rule to follow while driving a heavy vehicle? A. Stay on a right side of the road. B. Use four-way flashes if it is legal in your state. C. Signal other drivers when it is safe to pass you. Correct answer: signal other drivers when it is safe to pass you. Why tourists may be a hazard. A. They drive rented cars. B. They may move slowly, unexpectedly change lanes or stop. C. Police do not find them. Correct answer: they may move slowly, unexpectedly change lanes or stop. What keeps an engine cool in a hot weather driving? A. Enough engine oil level. B. Air conditioner use. C. High-speed driving in order to put more air to the radiator. Correct answer: enough engine oil level. Cargo inspection. A. Is most often not the responsibility of the driver. B. Should be performed after every break you take while driving. C. Are needed only if hazardous materials are being hauled. Correct answer: should be performed after every break you take while driving. A vehicle is loaded with very little weight on the drive axle. What may happen? A. Poor traction. B. Damage to drive axle tires. C. Better handling. Correct answer: poor traction. If your vehicle catches fire while you are driving, you should A. Park in an open area. B. Park where a building or trees shelter your vehicle from the wind. C. Increase your speed to put out the flames. Correct answer: park in an open area. Turn signals should be used. A. At least 100 feet before turning or changing lane. B. At least 150 feet before turning or changing lane. C. At least 200 feet before turning or changing lane. Correct answer: at least 100 feet before turning or changing lane. Containerized loads. A. Are not required to be inspected by a driver. B. Should be supplied with their own tie-down devices or locks. Generally are used when freight is carried part way by rail or ship. Correct answer: generally are used when freight is carried part way by rail or ship. When driving a commercial vehicle with a height over 13 feet, you should A. Not worry about height clearance as long as you stay on state or federal highways. B. Assume all clearances are high enough. C. Stop and make sure that a clearance is high enough. Correct answer: stop and make sure that a clearance is high enough. When should you test your parking brake? A. While moving at a very low speed. B. While the vehicle is parked. C. When backing. Correct answer: while the vehicle is parked. When going down a long steep downgrade, you should always A. Use the braking effect of the engine. B. Use controlled braking. C. Brake when you exceed safe speed by 5 miles per hour. Correct answer, use the braking effect of the engine. Controlled braking is A. Slamming on the brakes hard and making wheels lock up. B. Squeezing the brakes firmly without locking them up. C. Pressing brakes until wheel lock-up occurs, releasing and then reapplying. Correct answer, squeezing the brakes firmly without locking them up. Which of these is not a brake check you normally do during your walk-around inspection? A. Brake adjustment. B. Conditions of hoses. C. Hydraulic brake cylinders leaks. Correct answer, brake adjustment. One can recognize hazardous materials by looking on the container. A. Labels. B. Shapes. C. Covers. Correct answer, labels. Which of these is not a type of retarders? A. Electric. B. Hydraulic. C. Robotic. Correct answer, robotic. Trucks and buses are subjects of certain law regulations and inspections. Which of these is true? A. County and city laws do not apply to trucks and buses engaged into interstate commerce. B. Federal regulations apply only to trucks and buses driven at least 50 miles per hour. C. Laws and restrictions can vary from place to place. Correct answer, laws and restrictions can vary from place to place. When approaching a bridge on a 2-lane road you should A. Drive in the center of the bridge. B. Check the weight limit of the bridge. C. Slow down to 26 miles per hour on the bridge. Correct answer, check the weight limit of the bridge. Which of the statement is true? A. Most people are more alert at night than during the day. B. Most hazards are easier to see at night than during the day. C. Many heavy vehicles accidents occur between midnight and 6 a.m. Correct answer, many heavy vehicles accidents occur between midnight and 6 a.m. A space to the dash your vehicle is most important to manage. A. Back of. B. Front of. C. To the side of. Correct answer, front of. Your brake can get wet when you are driving through the heavy rain. What can happen if the brakes are applied? A. Hydroplaning. B. Extensive brake wear. C. Trailer jackknife. Correct answer, trailer jackknife. Which of the statements about an inspection of the suspension components is true? A. Distorted springs are safe as long as they are not broken. B. Axles mounts should be checked at each point they are secured on the vehicle frame and axles. C. Suspension components should be checked at all axles except for the following unit. Correct answer, axles mounts should be checked at each point they are secured on the vehicle frame and axles. You are checking your brakes and suspension system for a pre-trip inspection. Which of these statements is true? A. Just one missing leaf in a leaf spring is not dangerous. B. Spring hangers that are cracked, but still tight, are not dangerous. C. Brake shoes should not have oil, grease or brake fluid on them. Correct answer, brake shoes should not have oil, grease or brake fluid on them. You do not have hazardous materials endorsement in your commercial driver license. You can drive a vehicle hauling hazardous materials when A. The load of the hazardous materials is 26 pounds or less. B. The vehicle does not require placards. C. The person who has hazmat endorsement drives with you. Correct answer, the vehicle does not require placards. If you have convicted of driving a commercial vehicle under influence of alcohol or drug, you will lose your CDL for A. 6 months. B. 1 year. C. 2 years. Correct answer, 1 year. Which of these is true about hazardous materials? A. All hazardous materials present health and safety. B. Any truck carrying any amount of hazardous materials must have placards. C. Any public road allow trucks carrying hazardous materials if they are loaded correctly. Correct answer, all hazardous materials present health and safety danger. You will be placed out of service for 24 hours if your blood alcohol concentration, BAC, is at least A. 0.02, B. 0.04, C. Any detectable amount. Correct answer, any detectable amount. What does emergency braking mean? A. Pushing down the brake pedal as hard as you can. B. Responding to a hazard by slowing the vehicle. C. Using the vehicle emergency brakes. Correct answer, responding to a hazard by slowing the vehicle. You should try to park so that A. You can pull forward when you leave. B. Park along curb next to other vehicle. C. That your vehicle is parked by tree. Correct answer, you can pull forward when you leave. Which of the statements is true about using engine brake? A. You should use the engine brakes as a main way to control your speed. B. Increasing use of the engine brake prevents extra friction between the brake shoes, a part of the drum. C. The use of the brakes on a downgrade add to the braking effect of the engine. Correct answer, the use of the brakes on a downgrade add to the braking effect of the engine. After starting the engine. A. The coolant temperature gauge should be read right to normal. B. The oil pressure gauge should be read right to normal. C. The engine oil temperature gauge should be read right to normal. Correct answer, the oil pressure gauge should be read right to normal. Whenever you double your speed, your vehicle has about how many times of destructive power if it crashes? A. 2, B. 3, C. 4. Correct answer, 4. If you do not have a CB radio, what is the procedure you should do on the accident scene? A. Protect the area. B. Notify the authority. C. Care for the injured person. Correct answer, protect the area. If you have a heavy load that's slowing you down on an upgrade, you should be A. Shifting to the lower gear. B. Exit the road until traffic is lighter. C. Drive on a shoulder that the others can pass your vehicle. Correct answer, shifting to the lower gear. You should signal continuously while turning because A. You need both hands on the wheel to turn safely. B. It is illegal to turn off your signal before completing the turn. C. Most vehicles have self-canceling signals. Correct answer, you need both hands on the wheel to turn safely. Which of these should be tested on the vehicle to stop? A. Service brake. B. Parking brake. C. Hydraulic brakes. Correct answer, service brake. Which of these about alcohol is not true? A. Alcohol goes directly from the stomach to the bloodstream. B. Drinker can control how fast his body absorbs alcohol he gets. C. BAC is determined by how fast you drink, how much you drink and how much you eat. Correct answer, drinker can control how fast his body absorbs alcohol he gets. Overweight, oversized loads. A. Require special permits. B. Can only be driven at the daylight. C. Must be accompanied by the police. Correct answer, require special permits. Which of the statements about braking is true? A. The heavier vehicle is or the faster it is moving, the more heat the brakes have to absorb to stop it. B. Brake responding is very quickly when the vehicle is moving very fast. C. Brake fade is not caused by heat. Correct answer: the heavier vehicle is or the faster it is moving, the more heat the brakes have to absorb to stop it. Which of these pieces of emergency equipment should always be carried in your vehicle? A. Tire repair kit. B. First aid kit. C. Warning devices for parking vehicle. Correct answer: warning devices for parking vehicle. In a mountain driving you should go slow for safety. Which of these is the most important? A. Weight of the vehicle. B. Tire tread type. C. Depth of the tread. Correct answer: weight of the vehicle. You must keep the papers about hauling hazardous materials. A. Under the driver's seat. B. In the pouch of the driver door. C. In the glove compartment, which must be working. Correct answer: in the pouch of the driver door. Which of the statements is true about rear drive wheels braking skid? A. Locked wheels usually have more traction than rolling wheels. B. Front wheels slide sideways to try to catch up with the rear wheels. C. On a vehicle with a trailer, the trailer can push the towing vehicle sideways. Correct answer: on a vehicle with a trailer, the trailer can push the towing vehicle sideways. The best drivers are who watch and prepare for hazard. This is called the dash driving. A. Offensive. B. Defensive. C. Objective. Correct answer: defensive. Which of these is true about commercial vehicle habit of swinging wide on turns? A. Off-tracking. B. Wide rounding. C. Side winding. Correct answer: off-tracking. You may hang up on a railroad tracks if A. If you cross the double tracks too slowly. B. The tracks have a steep approach. C. You try to shift gear when crossing. Correct answer: the tracks have a steep approach. Which of these is true about radiator shutters and the winter front during the winter driving? A. The winter front should be closed tightly. B. Ice should be removed from the radiator shutter. C. The engine may overheat if winter front left open. Correct answer: ice should be removed from the radiator shutter. What kind of optional equipment, except tire wrench, could be in your vehicle? A. Fully charged fire extinguisher. B. Set of warning device. C. Battery charger. Correct answer: battery charger. Which of these do not provide extra gears on some trucks? A. Automatic transmission. B. Auxiliary transmission. C. Multi-speed rear axles. Correct answer: automatic transmission. Which of these is true about tire pressure? A. Air pressure in tires increases with the temperature. B. You do not have to check the hot tires, because the tire is not to blow out. C. The pressure is not to be checked during the trip if it passed the pre-trip inspection. Correct answer: air pressure in tires increases with the temperature. What should you do if you are unsure whether you have enough overhead clearance? A. Slow down slightly and try to drive under object. B. Find another route that will not require driving under the object. C. Estimate the height of topped overhead object if it is not posted. Correct answer: find another route that will not require driving under the object. What should you do when vehicle hydroplanes? A. Start stab braking. B. Release accelerator. C. Accelerate slightly. Correct answer: release accelerator. Which of these is true about tires and hot weather? A. You should check pressure before driving. B. If a tire is too hot to touch, you should drive on it to cool it off. C. A small amount of air could be let out, but air pressure remains stable. Correct answer: you should check pressure before driving. What is the minimum tread depth for tires other than the front tires? A. 3 a 32-inch. B. 2 a 32-inch. C. 4 a 32-inch. Correct answer, 2 a 32-inch. Where should reflective triangles be placed when stopped on a divided highway? A. 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic. B. 20 feet, 150 feet, and 300 feet toward approaching traffic. C. 30 feet, 100 feet, and 150 feet toward approaching traffic. Correct answer, 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic. What is the best way to see the sides and rear of your vehicle? A. Roll the window down. B. Use a helper. C. Use your mirrors. Correct answer, use your mirrors. If you double your speed, your stopping distance increases by A. 2 times. B. 4 times. C. 3 times. Correct answer, 4 times. Which of the following are some suspension system defects? A. Broken leaves in leaf spring. B. Cracked or broken spring hangers. C. All of these. Correct answer, all of these. If you do become sleepy while driving, you should A. Turn up the radio. B. Roll down the windows. C. Stop to sleep. Correct answer, stop to sleep. You downshift automatic transmissions. A. Before going down a hill. B. At the bottom of a hill. C. Halfway down a hill. Correct answer, before going down a hill. What is a pull-up? A. Pulling forward while backing a trailer to reposition it. B. Pulling off the shoulder. C. An exercise at a physical exam. Correct answer, pulling forward while backing a trailer to reposition it. What is the reason you should make emergency plans when you see a hazard? A. All hazards turn into emergencies. B. You will have more time to act if you see hazards before they become emergencies. C. You will have a plan to communicate the risk. Correct answer, you will have more time to act if you see hazards before they become emergencies. Thanks for watching CDL General Knowledge 2025. If this video helped you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more CDL test prep and trucking tips. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Have questions or want more practice tests? Drop them in the comments below. Good luck on your CDL exam, and see you in the next video.